let's talk renewals. Great example of how to build in bulk from a template. If you already have proposals in Ignition, this is where this renewal flow can come in and be super helpful. And just like building from a template, renewals can be done in bulk. Now, you can do this in batches. You can kind of select certain types of clients that you want to renew in different order. But the great thing is rather than have to like rebuild proposals or like duplicate them one at a time, we can bulk select clients or bulk select proposals, I should say, and then do that renew. And I'll show you how to do this in the pipeline tab. So pipeline is where all the proposals live. We can renew accepted proposals or we can renew completed proposals. You can also then edit them before you send. So Nicole actually showed us that really cool new feature called add-ons. So we can put some add-ons into the renewal so that we're gently upselling. I'm not a sales expert. From what I understand, it's always easier to kind of sell more services to an existing client rather than like find and sell a new client. So really cool stuff we can do there. I'll go through the process in the demo, but real quick, the process is pretty simple. Essentially, we're just going to select the proposals that we want to renew. And again, we'll select them from either an accepted or completed status. Once we've created the new draft, so that will just create them all as new drafts. It'll kind of copy them forward. We can then edit those drafts, and we have a price increase tool within the renew function where you can do a percentage-based increase. So we'll show you how that works. And then once we're done with our edits, just like bulk from a template, we can bulk select those drafts, send them out. And if you have recurring services, the new services that are sent out will replace the old ones. So if they're recurring, it automatically turns off the old one. So the new service can take over and there's no double billing. We'll show you how this works, but two ways you can kind of increase prices or adjust prices. If you want to do a percentage-based increase, we can actually do this in step 2 when we're reviewing and editing services. So really great way to go and do like a percentage-based increase. Quick shout out, we will share the study, but we did a study in the US. So for anyone joining from the US, and we asked our customers, what do you charge for accounting services and tax services, and what are your plans for a price increase? A lot of the firms replied that it's going to be like a 5 to 10% increase in 2025. So if you haven't kind of decided on your strategy yet for 2025 pricing, just know that a lot of your peers are looking at a 5 to 10% increase. So we'll show you how to do that in step 2 of the proposal editor. And then Nicole already showed this, but I wanted to call it out again. So excited about the bulk price update. So this works whether we've created the drafts from a template or from renewal. We can bulk select those drafts and edit pricing. A couple quick important notes. Again, if we're doing the renewal process, the new proposals are going to replace the old ones, and those services get replaced as well. So if you have any on completion billing that you haven't yet done, make sure you get that on completion billing done before we renew those proposals, because otherwise those on completion services get replaced and then we'll potentially miss billing that work. So if you have anything that hasn't been billed, just go through and get that done first. The second thing, which we kind of talked a little bit about earlier, is you're using those options or tiers or packages. The renewal only renews the option that was selected before. So if you want to represent those 3 options, the bulk from a template will be a better way to go. Just going to pause there for a second, see if there's any other questions. I don't think so. Okay, so let's get into a demo and look at how this works. So in my Ignition account, again, I'm going to start by just going over to Pipeline. And this is where we can kind of view and edit our proposals or take the action that we need. So I have a bunch of accepted proposals. I can, select the ones I want from here, or I can bulk select and I can renew. In my case, I need to get my tax engagements ready to go. So here's a bunch of tax engagements that were from the previous tax season. So they're all completed now. I've done all my on completion billing. I'm all ready to go. So I'm going to bulk select these and I'm going to renew and just click renew there. So what it's going to do is it's essentially going to kind of bulk duplicate these proposals as a new draft, but there's a couple other benefits as well. So I'm going to go into my drafts here. So you'll see all of these new draft proposals. Now you'll see as well that this is a renewal. So it's actually going to call out. So you can quickly see kind of where this came from and just kind of confirm that this was a renewal. Because it's a draft, I can go and edit these however I want. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to edit this first one. Now, what you're going to see is a couple of things that update automatically. In the proposal name, it's going to change the name to be renewal of, and then whatever the original proposal name was. So rather than renewal of 2023, I'm just going to change the name here and just make that now my 2024 tax return with extension. It has the client pre-selected, so I'm all good to go there. Now, the start date is going to update as well. And what it's going to do is it's going to look at the end date of the old proposal, and then the new proposal starts the day after. So my original proposal actually ended October 14th, 2024. So this new one starts the next day, October 15th, 2024. I'm actually going to push this one out. I'm going to say that this maybe starts next week. So we'll do that. We can change the length. This is going to copy the same minimum length as the one they signed last year, so I can edit that, or I'll just leave it. In my case, I'm good to just leave it there. Now, when we get to step 2 into services, this little apply price increase will pop up automatically. However, you can pop this up on any draft proposal you want. So a quick side note here, if you're in step 2 and you're editing services in a proposal, just in the very bottom right corner, it says minimum value, and then it says renewing apply price increase. If we just click apply price increase, that's going to pop open our fun little calculator here. So again, pretty common to see a 5 to 10% increase. I'm going to split the difference just because I like to be different. I'm going to say a 7% increase. I am going to round this off as well. I don't want to have like a weird kind of dollars and cents. I'm going to round it off to the nearest $10. So it's going to show me how much extra revenue is going to generate, and I'll just click apply. So little confetti celebration. And all we've done is rather than having to go and manually key in these different prices, it's just going to automatically update the pricing. So in my case, I have like a base price for my individual tax return. I have this additional schedules and forms. This is just kind of an optional service where I'll bill additional fees as needed. So that starts at $0, so there's no price change there. But I can go in and make any other changes I need. I've got my payments enabled. We're going to use the same engagement letter. That's fine. Presentation, I don't think I need to change anything here, but if I want to, I can. Oh, maybe I need a new video or something like that. But when I'm done my changes, again, we'll just save and close. So we've saved this as a draft. And from there, just like Nicole was showing, we can bulk select these drafts and we can bulk send. Or we can again use that adjust price. So no matter how we've created drafts, whether you created the drafts one at a time, bulk from a template, or bulk renewal, you can go and adjust the pricing. And again, that was a great question earlier. If you have multiple options, it'll show all of the services for each option in the proposal. So really easy to go and make those changes. Okay, I know we went through a lot pretty quick, and we're actually doing really great on time. We had 45 minutes for the webinar, so we have lots of time for questions. Just gonna pause and see. I don't think there's any questions so far, but if anyone has any questions, please jump into the chat or Q&A. Nicole, is there anything that I missed or anything before we jump back into the slides that you wanted to kind of shout out around renewals or the bulk creation?
No, I think we covered everything. I think the main thing that we really want to drive home is that like these are really easy, tangible steps that anyone can take. And hopefully we've been able to highlight that for you guys. But no, I think you did a great job, Reed. There's nothing else that I would kind of mention here.
Awesome. So I'm going to show a couple more things, and I'm going to start actually. Laura just jumped in. Thank you, Laura, with a great question. And the question is a recommendation on applying tags. Once a tag is created, it can't be deleted. Actually, a quick update on client tags. So you're correct. Like you can create kind of tags at any time by just typing in some text and saving that. However, we have a little update to the way tags work to make it easier to manage and clean up your client tags. If a client tag has been removed from all clients, it then deletes from the system. So a great recommendation if your tags are a bit of a hot mess, which for me they for sure are because my demo account has all kinds of stuff in it, is go to your client screen with all clients selected. Go ahead and click the export button, select clients. That will email you that CSV file that Nicole was showing. Go and take a look through your tags column and look for any kind of like old or outdated tags. Then what you'll want to do is if you see any clients with like a tag that we need to remove, you can go and search by tag to make it really easy. So if we go and look for new tag two, so I can now see, okay, you know what? I kind of need to get rid of this. If I go into this particular client record and just delete that tag, once I refresh, that tag will now be kind of deleted from the system. So let's go into a different client. If we go in and we go apply tags again, if we start to type in like new tag two, you'll see that it doesn't show up to pick from the dropdown. So again, if you have any old tags, just delete them from everyone and that will clean it up. Great question. I think there's some other ones that have come in. So let me scan the chat for a second here. Um,
Looks like Akin was able to answer them, the ones that were above that read.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, that all sounds good. So there's a question around can we bulk update engagement letters? So Nicole, I can take this one if you want. I'll kind of show a quick thing. So Vicky, shout out. Thank you, Vicky. Great question. This is a really important concept to understand, and I'll show everyone exactly what I mean. So when we go into our templates here, if we go to terms, we call them terms templates. If you're an accounting professional, you'll call it your engagement letter template. So these terms templates or engagement letters, these are dynamically linked to your proposals. So I just have one in this account. I've got my kind of standard terms here. If I go and make changes to this, I'll just call this engagement letter 2025, just to make that obvious. Any proposal that is a draft or awaiting acceptance automatically updates with those changes. So terms templates or engagement letter templates are dynamically linked to any proposals they're used in. If I go to my pipeline, I'll show you guys what I mean. So go to my pipeline. Let's take a look at some of these drafts. So if I just click on the proposal to view the details, if I go to the terms page, you'll see that that's now updated in my draft proposal automatically. So once a proposal gets signed and accepted, it's locked in and like nothing will change. But if you're working with drafts or if you've sent it out and it's awaiting acceptance, changing your terms template will change what the client sees in that proposal. So just be aware of that. Now, while we're on the topic, services are a little different. If we make changes to services in the library, like here's my 1040 tax return service. If I come in here and I put in, some new thing, this is only going to save in the service library. So services are not dynamically linked. When you add a service to a proposal, it gets kind of stamped into that proposal. And only by going to that proposal will you make changes. So for anyone that's new, and if you already know this, apologies, we're on like a bit of a side adventure here. But for anyone that's new, just be aware changes to your terms templates are dynamic. They'll link to the draft proposal, but changes in your service library are just going to apply to the library. You have to go to the proposal and make those changes. Great question, Nicole. Anything else that we want to like answer from the chat? I know there's a bit of chat going on. Anything else?
Reed, since you actually have your window open, do you mind showing really quickly in the services library the AI description tool? Someone asked a question about that. I think it might just be easier just to see it.
Oh my gosh, I would love to. This might be one of my favorite updates because I'm not an accountant or a tax professional. So it's helpful for me, but also a really good tool in real life. So yeah, when we're in services here, I'm looking at my service library. If you're new to Ignition, you might see some provided services from when you first sign up, but you can create your own. So if we go to the new service button here on the right, all we need to do is put in a service name. So let's call this one cash flow reporting. I don't know, something like that. When we hit suggest description, it's going to use a large language model AI tool to now build out an example scope of work. So it can take a few seconds here, but it's pretty cool. It's like all generative AI. It might not be perfect, but we can kind of see what it's come up with. If we are happy, we can just click the use button and it'll drop it in and we can kind of then modify from there. We can also get it to try again by just hitting suggest description or by hitting the little prompt button at the bottom. And you can get it to kind of refine the output as well. So we can hit regenerate or we can go refine and say, you know what, maybe elaborate. So yeah, kind of a cool way to help get you started. And this works in whatever country you're in. So when the tool kind of gets its query, we let it know what country the service is coming from. So if you're in Canada and you put an individual tax, it'll reference like a T1. If you're in the US and you put an individual tax return, it'll be like a 1040. So it's pretty smart. It's pretty cool. We don't share any of your data with the AI tool. We don't train it or give it access to your account. So there's no kind of security risk there if you want to give it a go. Kind of a nice thing to use.
There's another cool question that came in from Nicole, not myself, just somebody else with a really nice name, that asks, what is the best way to remove inactive clients from our CSV list?
Ooh, great question. So let's just quickly touch on client statuses and kind of talk a bit about what that is. So in Ignition, the client status will depend on whether they've signed a proposal yet in Ignition, or if we've used Instant Bill to set up some services or billing. So if they're a lead, they basically haven't signed anything. Once they sign the proposal or we have Instant Bill up and running for them, they'll become active. An inactive client is going to be anyone that we've done some work for in the past. So they've signed a proposal or we did some billing with Instant Bill, but there's nothing currently open and running. We don't have any active services right now. Nothing's kind of currently open. You can't really remove them from the CSV file, but if you're doing like bulk tagging and you're like, I don't really care about my inactive clients, I just want to review the tags for like my active clients, what you can do is rather than export like from all clients at the top left, is you can filter by client status, in my case, say active, and then export. And this will now just export my 58 active clients. What you can do as well, if you for sure are not going to work with someone again and you want to like clear them out, you can select them and you can archive, which will send them into your kind of archive folder. I don't know if that answered the question. Hopefully it does. Nicole, if there's anything you want to add, let me know. But yeah, client status will just depend on kind of the action they've taken in Ignition. And if you do want to get rid of inactive folks, we can archive.